Good afternoon. Sorry, so loud. Good afternoon. My name is Mary Lou Baza, and I am the Director of the Center for Ministry and Service here at Regis College. And it is my honor to be the first to welcome you to this year's Convocation program. A heartfelt welcome to you, whether you're new to our community or you've been here many years. Whether you're an undergraduate student, a graduate student, a member of the faculty or staff, whether you're joining us here in person or you're watching our program online, please know you are most welcome. And we're grateful that each of you are part of the Regis community. Convocation comes from the Latin word convocare, which means call together. In an academic setting, convocation is a time for the university to join together and officially usher in the academic year. Every summer, the team from the Center for Ministry and Service, or CMS as you'll sometimes hear us referred to, spends time thinking and praying about the coming school year and chooses a theme for convocation that we hope will speak to our community. This year's theme is Never Stop Questioning. You'll hear a lot more about this theme, and we hope you'll leave here feeling emboldened and inspired by what you hear. So without further ado, it is my pleasure and honor to introduce the Provost of Regis College, Dr. Mary Arena Driscoll.
President Hayes, members of the faculty, Regis cabinet officers, Regis staff, friends, and most of all, those of you watching online, whether you are certificate, graduate, or undergraduate, and most of all, our students, including the class of 2028. Welcome to the opening of the school year, our convocation. We are called together to mark this milestone as we chart our course for another academic year. And as you just heard, today we take as our theme, Never Stop Questioning. I think it is a brilliant way for us to begin. And in these few moments, I will take my place with others here who will offer you a few observations on this theme. I want to note at the start that we need to recognize there are many different kinds of questions. Some of those I ask on a daily basis are relatively simple, and most are answered by people who generally think I should know the answers to them myself. I'm talking about questions like, where did I put my phone down? Or what's the best time to avoid traffic on 95-128? That's a trick, there is no time to avoid. Or even, and I thank my niece for this, can you explain to me again why being brat is a good thing? Right. So while we could spend some time thinking about different kinds of questions and why we ask them, I won't. Let me say it flat out. As someone who has spent all of her professional life in some form of teaching or other, I believe there is no greater educational tool than the question, both from the perspective of the teacher and from the student. And furthermore, let me add that I don't believe there is any such thing as a stupid question. If you didn't need to know, you wouldn't ask. There are questions that show you didn't do the reading, but that's another matter. So moving on, let me offer 3 quick thoughts for you to consider. Number 1, I had the privilege of working for many years with a renowned educator, Sister Jean-Baptiste Nicholson, a member of the Order of St. Ursula, who was the longtime principal of my high school alma mater when I was its chair of the board. And until this past Sunday, I would not have thought that she shared anything in common with the late Dr. Ruth Westheimer. But then I read in the Sunday paper that Dr. Ruth shared Sister JB's respect and affinity for turtles. In fact, the collection of turtle figurines, gifts, and objects collected from all over the world that I saw so many times in JB's office apparently was duplicated in the Westheimer apartment. Why, you wonder? Because, as JB so often told her students, a turtle cannot move unless it sticks its neck out. It is safe and invulnerable in its hard shell, but will die from lack of food and water unless it takes the risk and moves forward. Asking questions is also sticking your neck out, moving from the safety of silence to engagement with others and with ideas. At every level of education, undergrad through grad, you need to emulate the turtle if you are going to thrive. Number 2, the most boring questions are the ones with only one answer. Those of you starting your undergraduate work have before you the riches of the Catholic intellectual tradition, built on centuries of questions, many with complicated answers about the things that truly matter, as well as the prospect of learning the central principles and questions of whatever your chosen field may be. Those of you who are graduates have returned to school because at some level you still have unanswered questions. But few of those big questions have just one answer. And even if we think they do, remember that every one of you bring what the sociologist Louis Malle terms your own funds of knowledge, derived from your own lived experience, unique to each individual, that will shade and shape and probe those questions as well. I am often reminded of what the mathematics educator, Magdalene Lampert, says about teaching children math. You can ask a student what 3 times 4 is and wait to see if they know that 12 is the answer. But how much better and generative it is to ask that student a different question. How many problems can you think of to which 12 is the answer? With that approach, you have opened a whole universe of possibilities. Number 3, here's the last one. Wrong answers are sometimes more interesting than the right ones. A couple of examples. Shortly after the First World War, the psychologist Jean Piaget was administering an early equivalent of what we now know as the Stanford-Binet intelligence test to children of various ages. He began to be fascinated when he realized that at certain ages, all of the students got the answers wrong, but they all got the same wrong answer. From this observation was born a lifetime of study, culminating in a theory of knowledge, of developmental growth and the assimilation of knowledge at age-appropriate stages that is still foundational to our understanding of learning today. Here's another. The biologist Susan Simard spent the early part of her career supporting the growth of the trees planted to replace the ones taken down by loggers. Her job, complete with a pesticide roundup, was to systematically kill all the other vegetation around the new plants so they would not compete with the new tree. But that practice didn't seem to fit with what she knew from other experiences. And so she went on, through much initial disparagement, to build a theory of interconnectedness among plants, one which requires us to understand how plants in groups and near one another actually grow better, a theory that is now proven as the standard in her field. This reminds me that the philosopher Thomas Kuhn documented more than 60 years ago what he called the structure of scientific revolutions, showing how aberrant thinkers, such as Copernicus, people who focused on the things that didn't fit into what normal science of the time says should be true, emerge over time as the heroes who help us envision new paradigms or way of seeing what has become familiar to us. So where are we? In brief, when it comes to questions, be a turtle, don't shy away from the complicated, and don't throw away the wrong answers. They may show you something you are missing. You will have the continuous joy of animating your life with questions of all sorts and types. I leave you with a few questions excerpted from a poem from our old friend, the poet Mary Oliver. The poem is called, "What is the Greatest Gift?" What is the greatest gift? That you have a life that I wonder about more than I wonder about my own. That you have a life, courteous, intelligent, that I wonder about more than I wonder about my own. That you have a soul, your own, no one else's, that I wonder about more than I wonder about my own, so that I find my soul clapping its hands for yours more than my own. As Oliver so beautifully shows, questions and wonders can connect us. What a marvelous way to begin the year. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce the President of the Student Government Association, Anna Grace Kolodny.
Thank you, Dr. Driscoll. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Grace Kolodny, and I am your Student Government Association President. I'm so honored to be up here speaking to all of you today. To all the new students in the audience, whether you are a first year, transfer, commuter, or graduate, whether you are joining us in person or online, welcome to Regis. And if you are a returning student, welcome back. If you had asked me during my first convocation if I would be speaking to you all as SGA President today, I would simply stare at you and say, absolutely not. The year before I came to Regis College, I took a gap year, and in my first year of college, I was a commuter. The path I was on was not your typical path, and I was under the impression that commuter students do not get to experience college life and being involved on campus. As I arrived to my first convocation, I distinctly remember two things. Number one, being told to leave no empty seats while filling in the front rows first. And number two, take that risk and become involved on campus. So I left convocation that day feeling a bit overwhelmed and excited. With completely zero expectations, I ran for one of the SGA first-year representative positions. A couple weeks later, I received an email saying that I was elected to the class board. So I officially joined a club, so I guess I made it. Except being part of SGA made me realize a lot more. It made me realize I had a voice and I could use my voice. Sophomore year, I began to notice that there was a lack of space for conversations about mental health on campus. It was an arena that I have always been passionate about, and I knew I wanted to be part of that change. That is when a few friends and I came together and took the initiative, which is when Active Minds Club at Regis College emerged. Here is an example of how I used my voice and stuck with values close to my heart, and I encourage you all to speak up and use your voices like I did. My college experience would not be the same if I had not joined clubs and become involved on campus. I, along with this year's Student Government Association, Executive Board, aka SGA, want to increase student involvement for graduate students, commuter students, online students, and essentially everyone. If you are unsure about whether to join a club, try out for a sports team, try a certain major, I want to encourage you to take that risk. Put yourself out there and be curious around how you can get involved. You can also apply for a service trip. Last year, I was fortunate enough to attend the service trip to Jamaica with Center for Ministry and Service. That experience changed my perspective on life and was an incredible journey I will never forget. I had the opportunity to get to know 15 new peers who became some of my good friends. I connected with 3 faculty members while doing something I love, which is service work. Anyway, enough about me. In 2 days, the annual Regis Involvement Fair will take place. I encourage everyone to attend that event. You will learn about so many ways to get involved. On campus, we have opportunities for all students from the performing arts, major-specific clubs, cultural clubs, mental health awareness, and so much more. We also have a wonderful event called Founders Day coming up in early October. You will be hearing much more about that. Just remember, there's a lot to do on campus, but if you do not see something on campus of interest, I highly encourage you to use your voice and advocate for what you want. For the next 4 years, this will be your home. Make it what you want. The best advice I was given my freshman year was simply encouragement. I was told that I was going to be successful on campus, so I held that statement with me and I kept going. So don't give up, and I believe in each and every one of you. I can't wait to see you all at the involvement fair, and if this speech has not convinced you to become involved, at least come for the free stuff, because being there may open some opportunities for you. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce the president of Regis College, Dr. Antoinette Hayes.
Thank you, Anna Grace, and good afternoon to everyone. It is my honor to welcome our first year and transfer students to Regis College and offer a warm welcome to our returning students, whether undergrad, grad, or online. Greetings also to our incredible faculty and to our dedicated staff who work tirelessly to support your success. Whether you are an undergraduate, graduate, doctoral, or professional studies student, each of you have chosen to engage in a journey in pursuit of knowledge, in pursuit of the truth. But how do we assess that knowledge? Good question, Mary. How do we, as faculty educators, know that you have attained the knowledge that you came for? Mary. Well, typically, a basic form of assessment involves asking you questions on a test, something I'm sure you're all familiar with. But we also ask you for your feedback on your course evaluations, so it goes both ways. Throughout your journey in pursuit of knowledge, you will be challenged and asked many, many questions, both inside and outside of the classroom, whether it be on the field, in the labs as you conduct research, or simulation, real work experience. And maybe even through study abroad or service work. And through our faculty, who will support you in your academic journey, you and they, together, will formulate answers to those questions, right? Together. We'd grow trees and other things together. But I want you to ask questions. I want you to ask questions. At Regis, there are many growth opportunities available. All you have to do is ask and pursue them. You heard from Anna Grace. We have the resources for you to succeed, but you must embrace the opportunities that you are given. When we admitted you to this university, we identified you as having passion and a willingness to pursue a life of purpose. Whether you are taking classes here on campus or virtually, through your academic journey, you will build a stronger character and the confidence that you need to pursue a career of meaning. At commencement, by the way, that will come faster than you think, we say, this is the graduate who has shown themselves worthy to be awarded the Regis degree. Now, as you begin your journey this year, you are called to fully engage in the Regis experience. We will benefit from that. You will benefit from each other. As you begin or continue your Regis journey, I challenge you to ask all the questions you can think of. Make the most of the resources that we have here for you. Undergraduates, you already heard from Anna Grace, go to the involvement fair, even if it's just for the free stuff, this Thursday on the quad. Learn about all the clubs and organizations available, and if we don't have a club or organization that you're looking for, develop it, make it happen. I challenge you to join at least one of them and maybe start a new one. Graduate and doctoral and professional studies students, do you hear me? While many of you may be online, I do invite you to participate on Founders Day on October 10th and be part of a truly Regis experience, seeing our mission lived and impacting those in need. And afterward, I want to hear about those experiences, mostly life-changing, I assure you. I want to hear about them at my Pizza with the President, some people call it pepperoni with Tony, by a dinner with me, or when I join you in the dining facilities on the weekends, come and sit with me. Or feel free to send me an email. It's not blocked. Let me know how Regis is making a difference in your life and how we can continue to support you. Thank you, and I truly look forward to seeing you on campus or hearing from our online students, and I wish you all the very best in the upcoming year. Thank you.
Thank you, President Hayes. My friends and family and colleagues often tease me because I ask a lot of questions. I have always been a curious person ever since I was a child. Some of you also know that I'm the proud mom of two wonderful kids, Luke and Meme. Luke, my son, is 3.5 years old. He, like his mom, is extraordinarily curious. If I had to guess, I'd say right now he probably asks at least 500 questions every day. And currently the majority of his questions are about dinosaurs. While sometimes his questions seem endless, and many times I don't know the answers to the questions he asks, like why and how exactly the dinosaurs went extinct, and what happens when people die, I do my best to encourage him because I know that asking questions is one of the best ways of coming to a deeper understanding of the world around us in all its mystery and complexity. Maybe you are like me and Luke, and questioning comes naturally to you. You've always been encouraged to ask questions. Or maybe you are not super comfortable asking questions for one reason or another, for fear of embarrassment or because you are sensitive to people's privacy, like some friends of mine. On that note, it is my pleasure to introduce to the podium two more members of the CMS team, our graduate intern, Janella Stelvalle, and the one and only Father Paul Kilroy, to share their reflections on this year's theme and what it means to them.
I've been doing this for so long that sometimes I forget I've never met a pulpit I didn't like. And here we are again. It's wonderful to be a part of this celebration. Thank you for the introduction. And the one thing I have always appreciated about Mary Lou and our years working together is that she loves asking questions, but it's almost as if she never stops.
That's so true. How is it that I've been in CMS for a month and I've heard more questions from Mary Lou than I've asked in any of my classes in the last 4 years? Some people don't like asking questions, and that's fine. I'm one of those people. But I would love to talk about the importance of doing so and how it can change your experience at Regis and the outside world.
So before we get started, it is my wonderful pleasure to introduce to you Janella Stelvalle, our grad student. She graduated from Regis in May of 2024 as a first gen from her undergraduate here at Regis. She majored in biology. She majored in biology, and she has a minor in lab operations management. She is back again to finish her master's degree in public health. She has also joined our team at the Center for Ministry and Service, of which we're very pleased and proud. And as a graduate intern, has taken on the role as a professional staff person with Residence Life. But one of her goals is that she would like to accomplish this year is to become a mentor for students. Students who are afraid to ask the necessary questions. Students who need assistance. Students who need a place to be open. Students who need an ear to listen. Simply for those who want to be involved or even the complete opposite. Janellas can be a great source to help the students be successful here at Regis.
Thank you, Father Paul. And now I would love to share a few words about you. He is Regis's chaplain and a valued member of the CMS team. Before coming to Regis, Father Paul was a chaplain at Northeastern University for 9 years. His time at Regis began in 2007 when it was first co-ed. Since then, he has helped create wonderful worship, special programs, and spiritual experience for Regis. He also started and participated in many service trips over the years. Question for you, Father Paul. How is it that you've been here for 17 years and I'm only now meeting you as a grad student?
Strange, isn't it? We're not going to answer it at this time.
Very. Over the years, there have been many Sisters of St. Joseph who have worked here. However, 2 years ago, our last sister, Sister Mary Murphy, stepped away to accept a promotion as the president of the Congregation of the Sisters of St. Joseph. Father Paul is one of many who helps us to continue the legacy the sisters implanted here at Regis, especially the core values that you'll hopefully hear a lot about during your time at Regis, and charism, or the spirit of the school. Along with being a part of Regis, Father Paul was an avid skier and cyclist over the years, for many years, and still enjoys nature, activity, and travel. He also enjoys a challenge, especially the kinds when students ask complicated questions, because believe it or not, he usually has an answer. Or he can help you find the answer because no question is unimportant.
So in the spirit of what we're talking about today, Janellas, the reason we're doing this is because it's one of the underlying reasons for our education at whatever level. We want to encourage our students not to be afraid of asking questions. What about this quote, Janellas? The most important thing is to never stop questioning. Do you know Albert Einstein?
Of course I do. Most everyone knows who Albert Einstein is.
Well, even with someone like Einstein, who was celebrated for his groundbreaking work, he faced many failures and many setbacks. Yet he never stopped asking the necessary questions that eventually contributed to his path to success. Remember, they say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Don't let your temporary shortcoming impact or affect your long-term success. So, Janellas, how do you feel about asking questions?
Well, Paul, I never started questioning. The thought of embarrassment left me with no desire to ask questions.
So what made you feel this way?
Growing up, I was and still am timid, cautious, and even fearful of what others may think, including my professors and peers. I refrained from making confused reactions and avoiding eye contact, so there was no room for professors to ask if I needed clarity. I've noticed that technology has been a controlling factor, and it can take away from the nature of asking questions. One of the things I hid behind was artificial intelligence, which we all know as AI. The reason for that being because I have access to ask the questions behind a screen and from the comfortability of my home. However, it wasn't until Professor Hogan's class, shout out to Hogan, that he made the thought of feeling dumb when asking a question not existent. He started every class by saying, please ask questions, do not be afraid of time, because we have plenty. I don't mind revisiting topics if that means everyone understands. I remember being in his lab class and students were trying to finish fast, to leave early, to get that last exam passed out, and not fully giving others a chance to catch up on the review. I raised my hand to ask Hogan to go over the material again. That's when I received side eyes from students, because I am holding the class back and should know the answer to my question. I can assure you that Hogan did not only go over it once, but twice. That's when I received above a 90 on the exam. This goes to show that asking questions can change the trajectory of your educational journey.
And there's no question about that, Janellis. That was a very powerful story. I can relate to that feeling of being challenged by my education, its environment, and the academic community around me. I've often been overwhelmed by the much larger educational environment, including social issues, religious differences, and people from so many different backgrounds. When do you think is the right time to ask questions, especially in a learning environment?
I've learned that the best time to ask questions is whenever something isn't clear. No matter how small or big the doubt might seem, the key is to not let the fear of embarrassment stop you from seeking clarification.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing those moments when you need more information or understanding and seizing the opportunity to ask questions, whether it's after class, during office hours, or in the middle of a lecture. Asking questions is crucial for deepening our grasp of the material and growing as a learner. Janellis, did you go to office hours when you were a student here, and what are they about?
Office hours are a space where you can connect with professors by asking questions that surface during class, as well as concerns about any other matter. Due to my timid nature, I did find it hard to meet with professors in person, but I made sure to seek help in other ways, including email or Zoom.
So I'm glad you mentioned that there are so many different and various ways for us to receive the help we need. I want to give a shout out to the Finucane and O'Sullivan Institute of Learning, FOIL, the FOIL team. They are one of the best resources on campus of meeting with your professor, if meeting with your professor can be challenging to you. Always want to meet with your academic advisor.
So, Father Paul, how do you feel about the nature of asking questions that's changed when you were in college?
Well, that's a while ago, huh? But it's a great question. And see, you're getting better. And however, to answer your question, the change wasn't drastic, but it was significant. I didn't start asking questions until someone cornered me. It was my first year of grad school, and I knew that to pursue my dream of working in the priesthood, I had to learn about the Bible, and I knew nothing about the Bible. So the first week of class, the professor authored a one-page paper for everyone. The next day, when everyone received their graded papers back, mine was missing. At the end of the class, I approached the professor and said, "I didn't get my paper back." And he looked at me and he said, "With good reason." And he asked me to visit his office. I was anxious about what was coming. Behind his desk, he told me my paper was lacking in certain areas. In fact, he told me it was a piece of crap. And given my record, he expected much more from me. He gave me 24 hours to submit a better paper. I spent the rest of the day revising and ended up turning in a failing grade into an A. This experience made me realize that my professor saw potential in me that I hadn't yet recognized in myself. It was a turning point, and it showed me the importance of pushing myself and asking questions, marking the beginning of my journey toward success.
That was a great story. All that to say, asking questions is really important, especially when entering college. It helps you grow and learn more about yourself and the world around you. When you ask questions, you're not just gathering information. You're developing your thinking skills and becoming more curious. This makes you a better learner and a more well-rounded person.
Also, for students, questioning enhances our understanding of whatever subject we are studying and a deeper engagement with the material. Education isn't just filling us with a lot more knowledge, but it pushes us to delve a little bit deeper, leading to better attention, a more thorough grasp of topics, and lots more questions. The more you ask, the more you know, not only in our academic skills, but it builds confidence in our ability to tackle complex problems.
I also wanted to share an experience that I had with having a support system. When it comes to advocacy, asking questions is crucial. It helps uncover different perspectives and identity issues that need addressing. This knowledge enables us to communicate more effectively for change and support those who may not have a voice. Once upon a time, my first year seminar professor, Walt Horner, shout out to Walt,
Hey.
He was that person for me. He made me feel extremely comfortable, and I knew I can depend on him. I always asked for help when registering for my classes, even after my first year, and he would do it with no hesitation. I have a question for you, Walt. You have some time after this so you can help me finish registering? As you can see, the closeness of Regis College allows confidence when asking questions or asking for help when needed. FYS is often overlooked by students. However, it's a stepping stone for networking and building connections towards your future.
So the courage to ask questions holds immense value because it demonstrates a willingness to gain and develop unknown skills, even at the risk of appearing vulnerable. This is particularly crucial in college, where many come seeking answers, direction, and a way to move forward. It signifies an openness to new ideas, an acknowledgement that we don't have all the answers. The humility and curiosity are important for forming personal connections, discovering new opportunities, and navigating college more confidently.
The position as a grad intern for CMS did not fall right into my hands. When I first arrived at CMS and joined the residential life staff, I was unsure of so much. I had to ask questions constantly because I didn't know where half the buildings were located, how residential life worked, or what resources were available to me. I stayed in my lane and didn't connect with many people. That was then, but now every day is filled with asking questions and learning. I feel stronger, confident, and more empowered, like a whole new world has opened up for me. This transformation wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't pushed myself to ask those initial, sometimes uncomfortable questions. It's a reminder that growth often begins with curiosity and a willingness to embrace uncertainties. By asking questions, I not only gained knowledge, but also built relationships and developed a deeper connection to the Regis community. As I continue in my role, I hope to encourage others to do the same. Whether you're new to campus as a first year, graduate student, transfer, commuter student, whether you're here with us in person or online, never underestimate the power of a question. It's through this openness and curiosity that we truly grow, both as students and as individuals. So let's continue to ask, learn, and grow together, because the answer we seek are often just a question away. As we wrap up this section, the excitement doesn't end here. Get ready for the fun surprise. Our grad interns will be throwing t-shirts into the crowd, so keep your eyes open and hands ready. If you didn't get a t-shirt or have the wrong size, please visit us at CMS in the St. Joseph Hall, room 4, and we'll be glad to help you exchange those sizes. It's now a pleasure to introduce the last member of the CMS leadership team, Maddie Conover.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie Conover, and I'm the graduate assistant for CMS, and I'm also pursuing my master's degree here in occupational therapy. While preparing for Convocation, our team came upon a famous quote by Austrian writer Rainer Maria Rilke, which he wrote to someone seeking his counsel about his career in life. He wrote, "I beg you to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they are locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers which cannot be given to you now, because you would not be able into the answer." We're back. So with that, we invite you to pray to God in the way that you know God. Loving God, we are still learning to live with the questions that stir in our hearts. Guide our questioning. Help us be patient with the answers that are still not ready and the realities we cannot yet comprehend. Give us courage to embrace the mystery that life sometimes brings. Teach us to love the process, to trust that even in confusion and doubt, you are guiding us. Help us live fully in the present, knowing that in time, through living and growing, the answers will come when each of us are ready. Until then, give us peace with the unknown and the grace to walk forward with faith. We ask all this in your holy and loving name. Amen. On behalf of the CMS team, we want to thank everyone who made Convocation possible today. This is truly a group effort, and we are grateful for all those who contributed. Thank you. We ask that you please remain seated until President Hayes and the faculty on stage have left the theater. After Convocation, please join us for a delicious lunch in the dining hall. Thank you again.